Hello dear students, my name is Vikram Nalode. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. I am working at SATCU with Dravichalkanji. In today's lecture of automobile engineering, we will discuss the suspension system, various types of springs. So let's start with the contents. We will discuss about the leaf spring, coil spring and troubleshooting. So the objective of today's lecture is to study leaf spring and coil spring and to understand the troubleshooting aspects. So let's start with the springs. Generally what happens, road is never smooth perfectly. It has always bumps, potholes, dips. So due to these variations, the road surface transmit vertical energy to the vehicle through its tires. It means the vehicle is not capable to release its vibration. It directly absorbs from the bumps. So bumps send the tires upward, and the dips or potholes draw them down. The role of spring is to absorb this vertical energy and bring the wheels back to a state of equilibrium. In any condition, wheels are to absorb the energies which are obtained when the tires gets on the bumps or gets inside the potholes. So evidently the springs constitute the first line of defense when driving over the road surfaces. The springs used in modern automobile are engineered in a variety of types, shapes, sizes, rates and capacities. These include the leaf springs, coil springs, torsion springs and pneumatic or air springs. These springs are used in different combinations and are attached to the vehicles by different mounting techniques. So the choice of spring type depends upon the weight of suspension system, capacity for storing energy, installation cost and the guide linkage required. So we will discuss about spring types. So let's start with one of the important spring, that is the leaf spring. So as it is mentioned, as it is shown in the picture, the leaf spring with the U-bolt and rear axle casing. So here leaf spring is a stock of spring steel strips or laminations. These are called leaves. The leaf springs are also called semi-elliptical springs, as they are bent in that form. So you just see there are many more strips. So these strips are connected with each other with the help of the U-bolt. So these are very effective in absorption of vibrations received from the wheel. So the leaf springs are also called semi-elliptical springs, as they are bent in that form, as this is shown in this diagram of a leaf spring attached to the frame and axle with the U-bolt and rear axle casing. The main characteristic of leaf spring are all the leaves or the laminations, means these strips are called leaves, and laminations comprising the leaf spring are curved and are bound together to act as a single unit. Their stacking from the bottom is in order from shortest to longer leaf. So here the length of the leaf is shorter, so these are increasing in length as the number of leaves are increasing to the top side. So second characteristic, the stack of the leaf is fastened together at the center with a center bolt, with a center bolt here or a rivet. Further, any slipping out of place of the leaves is prevented by holding the stack at several sections with the rebound clips. These are folded together with each of the leaves. Then next characteristic, the longest leaf. This one, the longest leaf in the assembly is called the master leaf. The assembly acts as a flexible beam due to different length of the each spring. Each end of the master leaf is formed into a loop called a spring eye. This is the eye for attaching spring to the shackle. On the one end, the spring bolt passes through the end and spring is attached to the frame. The eye at the other end is secured through a shackle which connects the spring to the chassis frame. Shackle helps in accommodating any change in the length of the spring. So here these are the eye for fixing spring to the body frame, and here eye for the attaching spring to the shackle. So various parts are there. This is the stud axle, then these are the leaf springs we have discussed already. Then this is the spring pad. So next characteristic is the curvature of each leaf is called nip, and each leaf curves more sharper than one above it. The overall curvature of leaf spring is called camber. When the spring is in the flexed state, nip causes the leaves to rub together, resulting into the creation of friction. This friction is called interleaf friction, and it helps in quick damping of the spring oscillation. Upon rebounding of the spring, the nip would prevent the occurrence of gaps between the spring leaves that would not allow the penetration of the dirt and the sand between the leaves, and thereby the wear would reduce. Next characteristic is interleaf friction that provides the riding comfort. Accordingly, steps need to be taken to reduce friction if it is too high, and for that silencer pads are inserted between each of the leaves at the ends to improve the sliding of leaves against each other. Further, the leaves are lubricated with a special graphite rich oil manufactured by some oil companies, other industries. The lubrication is done with a specially designed grease gun. When we talk about the lubrication, special grease guns are used. These are designed to supply grease for the lubrication inside the leaves. The next characteristic, inserts and interlines are used to control interleaf friction. An insert is a block of some material softer than steel and having special frictional qualities. It is placed in a depression in the leaf spring. Rubber, zinc, and lead inserts prevent rusting of steel leaves of the leaf spring. About next characteristic, generally a longer leaf is softer than a smaller leaf spring. A springiness of the leaf spring can be varied by varying the number of leaf lamination. Greater the number of leaves in the spring stack, firmer will be the spring and greater will be its load carrying capacity. However, the riding comfort will be adversely affected. Then next characteristic of such type of spring. The rate at which the leaf spring flexes or under load differs from the rate at which it returns back to the original state. This difference is called hysteresis and may be attributed to interleaf friction. Then next characteristic, the helper spring. Here this is the helper spring, is special type of semi-elliptical spring with the no eyes at the ends. No eyes at the ends. The spring is placed above the master leaf spring and assembly is fitted in the suspension system of trucks and other heavy commercial vehicles. This combination allows for a wide range of load. Under light loads only the mainspring operates. However, when the load exceeds a certain prescribed value, both the main and helper spring come into operation. Greater portion of the load is shared by the helper spring. Generally, the helper spring is cambered while the mainspring is of flat type. The combination of helper spring and mainspring is often called progressive spring. A progressive spring is a variable rate spring with the rate increasing with increase in its deflection. Then some of the different leaf springs used with the auto vehicles. These are shown like quarter elliptic, semi-elliptic and transverse. Generally the quarter elliptic spring was used in some earlier models of auto vehicle but now has been replaced by the semi-elliptic type. The transverse leaf spring, through cheap in construction, is attached to a vehicle body only at two places. This increases the tendency of vehicle to roll easily when negotiating sharp turns. So this is all about the leaf spring. So here in this graph the load versus flexure is represented. So how these are showing this steep line representing both are in equal magnitude. As the load is applied in similar manner, constantly flexure happens, but after reaching to one point is the differences in mainspring and helper spring is shown, and the load requirements are shown, and due to which flexure misbending happens in this manner. Now our next type of spring we will discuss, that is the coil spring. So about coil spring, the picture is shown. I will tell various name of the units. Generally this is the mount here, and here this is the hold down bolt. This is the frame over which all these are equipped. This is the pad, and this is hold down bolt, and this is hold down bolt from shown from bottom side. This is a coil spring, this is again hold down, this is a mount, and this is the pad. This is a rear axle housing, this one, and this is hold on bolt here. So this is the coil, and this is the spring rod. Generally a coil spring is basically a heavy duty strip of special spring steel formed into the shape of a helix coil, as it is shown here. And the load carrying ability of coil spring depends on the wire diameter, the overall spring diameter, its shape, and the spacing of the coils. In use, one end of the spring rests on the vehicle frame and other end rest on an axle or suspension member. When the load is applied, the spring contracts and the wire is twisted. As such, the energy of external force is stored and the shock is cushioned. Some of the characteristics of coil springs are like the coil springs are ideal for absorbing vertical energy and so can take up shear and bending stresses. Then other characteristics, the design of the coil spring does not cater to side motion and torque reaction. Additionally, mechanism is then needed to support the axle. Then next characteristic, there is no interleaf friction as with leaf spring. That is advantage due to the absence of inherent damping. There is no control of oscillations by spring itself. Means if we compare it with the previous type of leaf spring, that shows the advantage in that case. And the employment of a shock absorber then becomes a necessity. Next characteristic, the coil spring suspension system may also use helper spring. Here this one you see, this is the helper spring and this is the main spring. The coil spring suspension system may also use helper spring to provide progressive stiffness against increasing load. Helical springs are used with the independent front and rear suspension. Due to compact size, coil spring invariably find application in four wheels of most cars. So this is the basic information about coil springs and leaf spring. So now we will discuss troubleshooting of suspension system. Here this is the faults, this is not S, this is A. Faults, causes and remedies. So first point is car low at rear. So in this case, if weak springs are there, then we have to replace the rear spring if the riding height of rear wheel opening is less than the specified value. If spring is broken, then we have to replace. If tire pressure is incorrect, then inflate to correct pressure. And if vehicle is overloaded at rear, then we have to arrange the load for its even distribution. And if damper spring is weak or damaged, then we have to check and replace if necessary at the rear side. Now for the car low at front, in case of weak springs at front, we have to replace the front spring if the riding height of front wheel opening is less than that specific value. If springs are broken, we have to replace. If tire pressure is incorrect, then again as like rear side, we have to inflate to correct pressure. If damper spring is weak or damaged, then we have to check and replace if necessary as like the rear one. Then as in the case of car low at one wheel, if weak springs are there or these are broken, then we have to replace. If tire pressure is uneven, then again inflate to correct pressure. If loading is uneven, then arrange the load for its even distribution. And if worn or damaged suspension components, then check and replace the damaged or worn bushes and suspension system. Now in the case of car sways to one side, if chassis damaged or it is broken, then we have to check, repair, or if necessary it has to be replaced. If roof rack is overloaded, then check and unload if necessary. If springs are weak or broken, then we have to check and replace if necessary. If stabilizer bar is loose, then it has to be tightened. And if tire pressure is incorrect, again as like previous points, inflate the tires to correct pressure. Then next troubleshooting point is for hard or rough side. If springs are weak or broken, then we have to check and replace if it is necessary. If suspension parts are seized, then we have to lubricate, or we have to replace with new one. If a damper unit is defective, then we have to replace. If tire pressure is excessive, then deflate to correct pressure. And if uneven loading or overloading happens, then we have to arrange the loads for even distribution. So in these manner we can correct the faults, and remedial action can be taken in suspension system. So in today's lecture we have discussed about leaf spring, and we have discussed about coil spring, and some of the corrective measures to prevent some of the faults which causes some problems. So remedial action has to be taken. So I hope you have understood and gone through the basics of suspension system. We have discussed about the springs. So for today's session, thank you so much.